Hi everyone, so today we're looking at some of the symbolism in Romeo and Juliet. There's three main symbols that we're going to look at today, and those are thumb biting, Queen Mab, and the poison. So thumb biting then. In Act 1, Scene 1, the buffoonish Samson begins a brawl between the Montagues and the Capulets by flicking his thumbnail from behind his upper teeth. It's an insult known as biting the thumb. This, during the medieval period, particularly in England, was the equivalent of sticking your fingers up at somebody. He engages in this juvenile and kind of insulting display because he wants to get into a fight with the Montagues, but doesn't want to be accused of starting the fight. So he insults them and tries to kind of make them angry so they're gonna get into the fight. Because he's quiet, he's a bit soft, he's a bit shy, he settles for being annoying rather than challenging. The thumb biting, as an essentially meaningless gesture, represents the foolishness of the entire Capulet-Montague feud and the stupidity of violence in general. Queen Mab then. So in Act 1, Scene 4, Mercutio delivers a really amazing speech about the fairy queen Mab. She rides through the night on a tiny wagon bringing dreams to sleepers. One of the most noteworthy aspects of Queen Mab's ride is that the dreams she brings generally do not bring out the best sides of the dreamers, but they serve to confirm whatever vices they're addicted to. So for example, that could be their greed, it could be violence, or it could be lust in the case of Romeo. Another important aspect of Mercutio's description of Queen Mab is that it's complete rubbish. Obviously this is an entirely made up character, she's not real. Even though it's incredibly vivid and he uses some really colourful language to describe her. Nobody believes in a fairy pulled about by a small grey coated gnat. See, a gnat's like a little insect, with a cricket bone, which is how he describes it. But finally, it's also worth noting that the description of Mab and her carriage goes to extravagant lengths to emphasise how tiny and insubstantial she is. Queen Mab and her carriage do not merely symbolise the dreams of sleepers, they also represent the power of waking fantasies, daydreams and desires. Through the Queen Mab imagery, Mercutio suggests that all the desires and fantasies are nonsensical, they're fragile, and that they're basically corrupting. You get so absorbed in these fantasies and these wants and these desires that you lose track of what's important. This point of view contrasts quite starkly with what Romeo and Juliet see as their real and their ennobling love. Finally, we come on to the poison. So in his first appearance in Act 2, Scene 2, Friar Lawrence remarks that every plant, herb and stone has its own special properties, that nothing exists in nature that cannot be put to both good and bad uses. Thus, poison is not intrinsically evil, but instead it is a natural substance made lethal by human hands. Friar Lawrence's words prove true over the course of the play. The sleeping potion he gives to Juliet is concocted to cause the appearance of death, but not death itself. But through circumstances beyond the friar's control, the potion does bring about the fatal result of Romeo's suicide. Because obviously Romeo doesn't get the note that the whole thing is a plot, and it's fake, and so Romeo ends up committing suicide because he can't bear to live without Juliet. As this example shows, human beings tend to cause death even without intending to. Similarly, Romeo suggests that society is to blame for the apothecary's criminal selling of the poison, because while there are no laws prohibiting the apothecary from selling poison, there are no laws that would help the apothecary to make money. If we think an apothecary in medieval England was the same as what a pharmacist or a chemist is now. The poison symbolises human society's tendency to poison good things and make them fatal, just as the pointless Capulet-Montague feud turns Romeo and Juliet's love to poison. After all, unlike many other tragedies, this play does not have an evil villain. There is no antagonist. Rather, there's people whose good qualities are turned to poison by the world in which they live. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.